given the speed of Macbeth's decision to slaughter Macduff's wife and family, it's appropriate that the very next scene, Act 4, Scene 2, is when this dreadful deed is carried out. And just before the murderers that Macbeth has sent to Macduff's castle arrive, we have a little scene that takes place where Lady Macduff and Ross speak really about what Scotland has become under Macbeth's rule, and it's really important to kind of observe the atmosphere that has, I guess, been set by Macbeth and has, during the time that he has been on the throne, has kind of prevailed throughout the whole nation. There's this quote that I've highlighted up here that where Ross says, "But cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves, when we hold rumour from what we fear, yet know not what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea, each way and none." That should say, that must be a misprint. That should say each way and none. The point about this this quote, and why this quote is relevant to you, is that Macbeth's character is in many senses paradoxical. He appears initially to be loyal, and when we hear of him making a decisive contribution to a battle to protect his king, and then he emerges as a traitor and a murderer, and he all the way through that opening act, particularly, he's referred to, or he, when he himself talks, he often speaks in paradoxes. So that first line that he says when he comes on stage in Act 1, Scene 3, so foul and fair a day I have not seen, echoes, of course, the paradox of the witches in Act 1, Scene 1, so foul and fair is foul and foul is fair. That idea that the opposites being united in one person, and Macbeth is both loyal and treacherous at one and the same time. And that kind of paradox of Macbeth himself as a character actually comes to infect the whole nation of Scotland. And that's really what this quote is saying, that we are traitors, we do not know ourselves, we hold rumour from what we fear, yet we know not what to fear. We hear rumours out there of terrible things happening in our nation, and we're afraid of them, but yet we're not really too sure if they're true, or even if they are true, what it is precisely we should be afraid of. And then he says this, that it's as if we are floating on a wild and violent sea. We're being tossed around in this violent sea, but we're moving one way and then another, but not really going anywhere. And that, in many respects, is the kind of outworking of the paradox of Macbeth in the whole of the nation. The whole of the nation is really subject to the paradox of the person who rules it, and at this time that is Macbeth. And we get a similar idea coming through later in the scene, where Lady Macduff says, a messenger arrives and breathlessly tells her, "Look, you need to get out of your house. You need to go now. There are people that Macbeth has sent to murder you." And she says this, "I remember now I am in this earthly world, where to do harm is often laudable, to do good sometime accounted dangerous folly." And that kind of inversion of traditional morality that the witches announced in Act 1, Scene 1, when they said fair is foul and foul is fair, and that kind of inversion and overturning of kind of goodness that Macbeth himself represents is really seen in this quote that Lady Macduff is saying that actually I'm living in the world, I'm living in a nation where to do harm is often laudable. To do harm is often considered a great virtue, and to do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. To be a good person is actually a very dangerous thing under Macbeth's leadership. So, two quotes in this scene just before this dreadful act where Lady Macduff and her children are slaughtered that really help us to see the effects that Macbeth's kingship have had and are having upon the nation.